You brought this plant home, put it near the window, watered it, and then nothing. Same leaves, same size, sat there for months like it had nowhere to be. Meanwhile, you're watching videos of people with monsteras the size of a door, giant leaves, deep splits, the whole thing, and you're over here wondering what they know that you don't. I've been there, and I've been growing Monstera long enough to know exactly what separates the plant that explodes with growth from the one that just exists. Today we're going through 7 secrets, the stuff nobody hands you at the garden center. Stick with me because number 6 is the one that's going to change how you look at this plant completely. Tip number 1, do the hand test right now. Go look at your Monstera. Seriously, pause this and go look. Find the stem, that thick stalk in the middle, and look at the gaps between where each leaf grows out. Those gaps are called internodes, and they're the most honest thing your plant will ever tell you. Spread your hand wide and hold it up against that gap. If the gap is bigger than your hand, your plant isn't getting enough light. That's it. That's the whole test. No app, no gadget, just your hand. When a Monstera doesn't get enough light, it stretches between leaves, reaching for something better. You end up with this long, leggy stem that looks like it's trying to escape the room. And the leaves? Plain. No splits, no holes, nothing interesting. Here's the part that's actually wild. Those famous splits and holes in the leaves, that's a light response. In the jungle, as a Monstera climbs higher toward the canopy, its leaves start splitting so light can filter down to the lower leaves below. The more light it gets, the more dramatic the fenestrations become. Keep it in a dim corner, and you'll have a plain, boring plant forever. Bright, indirect light is the goal. South or west-facing window is ideal. If you don't have great natural light, a grow light running 12 hours a day will do more for this plant than almost anything else on this list. Tip number 2. Those weird roots hanging off the stem, leave them alone. Every Monstera owner hits this moment. You're looking at your plant and you notice these thick, ropey things hanging off the stems going absolutely nowhere. They look wrong. They look like the plant is unraveling. Your first instinct is to grab the scissors. Put the scissors down. Those are aerial roots. In the wild, a Monstera uses them to grip onto tree trunks and pull itself upward toward the light. They're not a problem. They're literally the plant's climbing gear. Now, cutting them won't hurt your plant. I'm not going to pretend it's some catastrophic mistake, but you're throwing away something useful for free. What you want to do instead is direct them into the soil. Take those dangling roots and gently guide them down into the potting mix. They'll establish, anchor the plant at a second point, and your Monstera becomes noticeably more stable. If yours flops or leans, this fixes it without bamboo stakes. The other option is a moss pole. As your Monstera climbs it, the aerial roots grip into the moss, the plant goes vertical, and the leaves get bigger and more split with every new growth. It's the closest thing to a cheat code this plant has. Tip number 3. Stop panicking about the roots at the bottom. Roots coming out the drainage holes, the universal houseplant alarm bell. Every plant parent sees it and immediately thinks they need to drop everything and repot right now. With most plants, yeah, probably. With Monstera, relax. Monsteras actually prefer a snug pot. Too large a pot means more soil than the roots can drink from, and that wet soil just sits there quietly becoming a problem. Monsteras like their roots cozy. So when you see roots at the bottom, first ask yourself, is my plant still putting out new leaves? Is it drinking water normally? Does it look healthy otherwise? If yes to all of that, leave it alone. I've had plants stay root-bound for 2 years past what most people would consider too long, and they kept growing perfectly fine. When you do repot, and eventually you will, go up one size only, 6-inch to 8-inch, 8-inch to 10, one step. Overpotting is one of the most common ways people accidentally kill a healthy plant. More soil is not more love. Give it room to grow, not room to drown. If you're picking up something useful here, go ahead and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people. Now, secret 4 is the one that saves the most plants. Let's keep going. Tip number 4. It's not the water,
It's what the water does to the soil. Ask anyone why their Monstera died, and they'll say overwatering. And they're usually right. But overwatering isn't the real killer, it's just the trigger. The actual problem is what happens when the roots run out of oxygen. Roots breathe. They pull oxygen from air pockets in the soil. When soil gets waterlogged and compacted, those pockets disappear. The roots suffocate. Suffocated roots rot. That's the whole story. Which means the fix isn't just water less, it's getting your potting mix right. Dense, moisture-heavy soil is a slow death for Monstera, even if your watering schedule is perfectly reasonable. My mix? 5 parts compost, 2 parts perlite. The compost handles moisture and nutrients. The perlite, those little white volcanic particles, create permanent air pockets that don't collapse when the mix is wet. That combination is nearly impossible to overwater if you're using a pot with drainage holes. Speaking of which, never plant a Monstera in a pot without drainage. I don't care how nice it looks. Put a nursery pot inside the decorative one. Done. Water thoroughly until it runs out the bottom, then let the top 2 inches dry before you water again. Finger in the soil. Still damp? Come back tomorrow.
Tip number 5. Fertilize with the seasons, not the calendar. Monstera is a fast grower when it's happy, and fast growth burns through nutrients quickly. But most people either never fertilize at all, or they fertilize all year on a schedule without thinking about what the plant is actually doing. Spring and summer, that's your window. That's when the plant is actively pushing out new leaves, expanding roots, and building size. Feed it during this period, and you'll see a real difference in how quickly new growth comes in. Fall and winter, the plant slows almost completely. Fertilizing during this period doesn't speed anything up, it just builds mineral salts in the soil over time that can eventually burn the roots. What I use? A balanced liquid fertilizer, 20-20-20, at half the recommended strength, once a month during the growing season. Nothing complicated, just consistent, moderate feeding when the plant is actually ready to use it. And every few months, flush the soil with plain water. Run it through until it drains freely, clears out any salt buildup, and keeps the root zone clean. Tip number 6. You probably don't have the plant you think you have. This one stings a little, but you need to know. There are 2 types of Monstera that look almost identical on the shelf of the garden center. Same heart-shaped leaves, same aerial roots, same basic look. Most people buy one thinking it's the other, and it really does matter. The one you almost certainly bought is called Monstera borsigiana. It's everywhere. Nurseries, big box stores, IKEA. Affordable, widely available, genuinely nice plant, but its leaves max out around 18 inches. No matter what you do, no matter how perfect your setup, it will never produce those enormous, deeply split leaves you see in the best plant rooms online. The one that does that is Monstera deliciosa, the true large-form Monstera, leaves that can reach 3 feet across, splits so deep they look architectural. That's the plant behind those photos. How to tell them apart? Look where the leaf stem meets the main stalk, the geniculum. On a deliciosa, it looks slightly ruffled and textured. On a borsigiana, it's smooth and clean. If you've done everything right and still can't get big leaves, this might be exactly why. A true deliciosa costs more, worth every cent if the big, dramatic look is what you're after. All right, drop a comment right now and tell me, did you know which Monstera you actually have? I'm genuinely curious how many people are surprised by this one. One secret left, and it's going to save you from a mistake most people make. Tip number 7. Pruning your Monstera is almost always the wrong move. Pruning works like magic on pothos, transcantia, philodendron. Cut it back and it fills out, so the natural assumption is that Monstera works the same way. It doesn't. When you cut a stem on a mature Monstera, especially one with nicely developed splits, the new growth that emerges often reverts to a juvenile state. Small leaves, plain leaves, no splits, no holes, nothing. The plant eventually catches back up,
But those first few new leaves are going to disappoint you every time. Unless there's disease, pest damage, or a stem that's genuinely done, don't prune it. Just let it grow. What you should do instead, give it something to climb. A moss pole, a coir pole, a thick wooden stake. Monsteras are climbers by nature. The more vertical height they gain, the bigger and more fenestrated every new leaf becomes. Height equals maturity. Maturity equals the leaves you actually want. This plant rewards patience. Give it the right conditions, get out of the way, and it will absolutely get there. 7 secrets. The hand test for light. Leave the aerial roots alone, or better yet, put them to work. Don't rush the repot. Fix your soil before you blame your watering. Feed with the seasons. Know which Monstera you actually have, and keep the pruning shears in the drawer. None of this is complicated. It's just stuff nobody tells you when you walk out of the garden center with a plant and a receipt. Now you know. Go give that Monstera what it actually needs. If this helped you, hit that like button and subscribe. I put out new videos every week on growing and caring for plants that actually work in real homes. And I'll see you in the next one.